so she can say hi to Ryan.
Hey!
Hi! I better
And
put
we
the
can
lights
hear-
on, actually. It's getting a bit darker.
I'm on the way out. I just wanted to say hi. And I heard you got censored as well. So it's just nonstop, right?
Yeah, whatever.
Another day, right?
Content creator.
All right. Well,
It's nice
thank
to
you guys.
see you, stranger. Get in touch.
I know. I got to have you back on, right?
Yeah.
I love talking with her. You guys have fun. I thank you for having me on, guys.
Ryan, thank you so much, my friend.
Ryan,
Take care,
next
Ryan.
time you come on, I want to talk a little elections too as well. We have something in there. We're probably not going to get to it today, but I haven't got a chance to talk to you about this. I almost got thrown out of Freedom Fest for an election integrity panel that was on there. Just a joke. But we have to have serious conversations about elections. On both shows. I'd like to have you on when it gets closer because, my stance, we're very different. So I'd love that. That'd be great. Please. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Take care, Ryan. Independent journalist extraordinaire Vanessa Beeley has joined the stream today. This is a powerhouse Monday on the program.
Unexpected.
Here. We don't advertise anything. You never know. This is why you have to share the show out. This is why you have to tell people
I got to show up
about the show, and you have to be here because we don't advertise who our special guests are going to be. And in one day, you got both Ryan Christian and Vanessa Beeley. How are you, my dear? I love your new puppy.
That's what I want to know. Let's talk about the serious things here. Let's get to the dogs.
I don't know where she's gone, actually, because it's suddenly gone a bit cooler. They've all gone into mad zone. So they'll be zooming in a minute, and you'll see. You might either the laptop will get knocked off the table, or you'll see them bouncing off the sofas.
I know the words to that song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gomez says hi, by the way. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it was the show that Vanessa was on where Gomez knocked the whole camera over.
I was there with you guys.
That was one of the funniest moments. It was just everyone's reaction was precious. Honestly, it was brilliant.
Oh, man. So yeah, Ryan mentioned it, but you are also currently, or were just recently, smacked down again by the gods of the algorithm.
Oh God, yeah. What was it for? Oh, it was for a vaccine tweet. Not allowed. It was quite an obscure one as well. I think it was. Oh God, I can't remember. The unexpected. It was actually a headline. Unexpected deaths from blood clots, and I just put something like, yeah, right, unexpected. And for that, I was suspended for 12 hours on the naughty step, and my YouTube's only just come back. I kind of, it's ridiculous.
If you guys don't know, Vanessa got a strike on her YouTube channel. They took her channel away for a week, and then on day 8, she was like, "Hey, YouTube,
hello."
Are
no,
you
and then the funny thing,
than me?
Yeah. But the funniest thing, they sent me a thing saying, no, but when you have 2 strikes, I was like, but you didn't give me 2 strikes, you gave me 1. And they kept saying to me, can you just video your screen? I was like, are you kidding me? Like, provide the evidence I have 2 strikes, or give me my account back. And funnily enough, my account came back. So I was like,
right, isn't that
hang on,
burden
here
of
she is.
proof on you?
Ooh, here's the Bubba.
Oh,
here's the new baby.
Hi, Pearl.
Here's the new Bubba.
Aww.
She's gone all kind of pathetic now.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that has got to be the happiest dog in Syria right now.
She has the funniest little legs. They're like, you can't see them when she's like this, but they're like little piano. Oh, here it comes.
Oh, hi, Daisy.
Jealous.
Hi, Daisy.
Go down. Go and play with Daisy.
Now I hella miss Gomez. I really wish we could have him in the studio. There's no way we're bringing this dog in.
No, the studio will be no more, I think.
You
see how jealous she is?
Of course.
Like,
Gomez has to be in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
That he is not a happy dog unless he has totally invaded everyone's space.
Yeah, that's Daisy. She's an absolute tank as well. I mean, she just basically destroys everything.
Yeah. There. Oh,
Anyway.
what was it? I can't even remember what it was. Oh, there was a remote for a TV that we don't use, but for some reason have in the house. And it was just sitting on the table. And Gomez got excited about something, and the Pibble Whip
Yeah.
like knocked the remote a good 5 feet through the air, and then it landed on the floor and smacked, and batteries scattered.
Yeah.
And all it was one little swipe of the tail. That's
Yeah.
all it was.
I know, but the tail is a lethal weapon.
It's a freaking club, man.
Anyway.
Every pit bull I've ever met has done a thing where they'll like smack the tail against a hard surface and like give themselves micro fractures and then just build up this chunk of club.
Yeah. I have a little wood burning stove in here that's metal, and when I come home after I've been out for 5 minutes, the tail on this, I'm like, no, like stop, you're gonna break it.
At the farm in Humboldt, at Casa del Balderson, where I got the doggy, they have a wood burning stove and oven, and in the wintertime, it's Humboldt County, it's cold as shit. Below freezing most of the time. The Gomez, there were 2 stove dogs that would like get to the not the hottest part of the stove, but it's still cast iron, and then they would just lean up against it. And that was the spot, was against the wood burning stove. And it's like, dog, you're gonna burn yourself. You can't make me any more nervous than I already am. I can't relocate you. And then you go and you move it, but they just slink right back. No, dude, I got it.
Oh, yeah. No.
Absolutely nuts. I'm curious as to what it looks like outside your front door right now, because we haven't heard a ton about Syria lately.
Well, actually,
aside from Israel bombing the shit out of it.
No, there's some big moves coming, we hope. Some people might have picked up that the Syrian army has started basically maneuvering a new front line to the north in Ain al-Arab and Ain Isa, which were effectively, well, it's kind of flip-flop. They're between the Kurdish countries and the Syrian army. But recently, the Syrian army flag, or the Syrian Arab flag, has been hoisted again in many of the areas around Ain Arab and Ain Isa. So heavy weapons are also heading to that area. The troops are being reinforced. And I was talking to someone just before I came on, who was a former soldier and is now he does quite a lot of research and writing up of what's going on. And watch this space. I have a feeling you're going to see some very unexpected allies in the next few days, particularly in Idlib. In Idlib, there has been a lot of kind of gangs and counter-gangs maneuverings going on, with US-backed proxies and Turkish-backed proxies vying for power and position. And the plan is that ultimately some of those groups will actually come in to kick out the predominant or the dominant forces in Idlib. So it's kind of a tipping point here in Syria. So it's going to be interesting in the next 2 weeks as to exactly what's going to happen. But I'm really hoping that they maneuver towards getting back the oil resources, because that's going to be a massive game changer. And they need to do it because Israel, from its side, of course, is ramping up. It's escalating aggression. There is potential of a war with Israel at some point. So Syria knows that it needs to get everything in order in the north in order to be ready to turn south and face Israel. So we're in a very critical time at the moment. So send up a little prayer or whatever you want to do, positive thoughts for the Syrian army, because the Syrian people really deserve some kind of breakthrough. Of course, the other thing as well, for me, which has been really important in the last 10 days, has been this wrangling over the humanitarian corridor in the northwest. And for me, Russia actually won this argument in the UN Security Council, because effectively Russia dug its heels in and said, no, we're not extending for 1 year, which the US and UK and EU wanted. And they didn't want to, as Dmitry Polyansky said in Geneva, he said they didn't want to do their homework. They didn't want to audit the crossing, because he knows damn well weapons are coming into Al-Qaeda, humanitarian aid is coming into Al-Qaeda, and it's providing revenue for Al-Qaeda. All right. So effectively, Russia dug its heels in, and some unexpected allies came forward and basically supported Russia in this, which was a real turnaround in the UN. And Russia won the day. And basically Russia's long-term view is to shut down the Turkish border crossings and have the aid from the UN going to Damascus for Damascus to distribute it, right? I mean, that's the logical respecting sovereignty route to go. But of course, the US, UK have rabidly refused to allow that to happen. So that's the long-term view from Russia. So everything at the moment seems to be kind of heading in a relatively positive direction. I just hope it continues. I always say that with the caveat that you just don't know who's going to get involved, who's going to turn the tables. But the meeting that's coming up, I think on the 19th, with Putin, Erdogan, and in Tehran, is going to be the real turning point. And I think from then on, if everything goes as it should, you'll see a big change in Syria.
It would be huge for Syrians to actually have access to their own natural resources.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that.
Yeah, I don't know what Nevada's natural resources are. Solar, I guess. I don't fucking.
Yeah.
There was silver at one point. They mine gypsum here. I'm sure there's some uranium that people don't know about. Yeah, there's uranium all over the Yosemite area.
Yeah.
And there's an active uranium mine going from mining process in the Yosemite area that's super hush-hush. Because if the residents there knew there was active uranium mining going on, they might be like, hey, wait a minute, we're living under what?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure I want the water anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, where are we at?
We just talked a little bit. We just talked a little bit about some positive news for Syrians, which is, I guess, far too infrequent. Have you seen the meme, right, where it's the Assad curse, where everyone who has spoken out against Bashar al-Assad is now in the process of being removed? Bojo's going, Macron's going. Looks like Olaf Scholz is gonna be removed. There's a number of other leaders that have stepped down. I think, what was it, Latvia or something like that? Their prime minister just stepped down.
Well, even the former Japanese prime minister,
Shinzo Abe,
Assad to go, and he also called for the United States to get to ramp up military intervention.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, I guess now some people are going to credit Putin, of course, but the Assad curse has been going for a lot longer.
It really has, and
I know.
It's going to be so weird over the next couple of years to see what they try to do, in light of the fact that even like the Washington Post and the New York Times and the more liberal press outlets are going, hey, so Joe Biden's kind of nuts. Might not be.
I mean, it's a little bit difficult to deny it, isn't it? I mean, Jesus, you know, it's
Did you see him trying to get on the plane was that in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, it was in Saudi Arabia.
He fell over 6 steps.
Oh, I missed that one. I saw him arrive in occupied Palestine and basically ask where he should go. I mean, and then what was it? Honoring the Holocaust, or
Yeah.
no? What was it? I
Yeah,
can't
it
remember
was
now.
the oh god, what was there was a
Yeah.
oh man, I can't even open it. My
Here.
computer's dead.
It is right
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he went in with
Well-
a motorcade into. Didn't he go into the West Bank? Was it with a big motorcade? I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. And was that where they put the board saying "Welcome, this is apartheid"? Something.
Yes.
Was,
Yes.
Of course, they entered. And the other thing, of course, he couldn't even get Shireen Abu Akleh's name correct. I mean, that came out like the journalist who was sniped by the IDF, and of course denied by the IDF.
I'm gonna put this. Yeah, I'm gonna put this little clip over here. What we were just talking about.
The Biden's little Holocaust shout out.
A little shout out for the Holocaust.
Again, man, 81 million votes. Supposedly the most wanted president.
Oh, and don't
Very
forget the ISIS assassination that never happened. Also.
He was
Very
hitting all
bottom.
the high notes there.
Very bottom. There's a clip.
So yeah, this is Joe Biden in Israel a few days ago. And remember, the whole time that he was in Israel, he was supposed to be doing this like fake story thing where he wasn't touching anyone because of COVID protocols, because they had manufactured a whole bunch of drama around shaking MBS's hand. And the very first thing that he does when he gets off the plane is goes up and dry humps Bibi.
Yeah, in a crowd. It goes in
a crowd of
he
people.
breaks from the walk to go into the thing, and they said the one thing that could really foil this plan we have for Biden is if he forgets it. He forgot it right off the jump.
Well, that's a given, isn't it?
Take a look at this clip.
I will once more return to the hollow ground of Yad Vashem
What?
to honor 6 million Jewish lives were stolen in the genocide.
I don't even think
continue,
he
which we
believes
must
that
do
number anymore.
every day. Continue to bear witness. To keep alive the truth and honor of the Holocaust, horror of the Holocaust. Honor those we lost.
Okay, one more time. Just the first part of it.
I will once more return to the hollow ground of Yad Vashem.
All right, David. Wait, okay.
Good to return to the hollow ground of paper news.
God,
Look,
I mean, it's seriously, it's
Listen,
embarrassing.
Joe Biden, you a hoe. I'm
Sorry. Okay. We have a little sound bite we've been playing all day today. So
I mean, really, they should lock him up. I mean, he shouldn't be allowed out. Really.
Pop can't even walk upstairs on his own. It's time.
yeah.
Well, he
It's-
falls off his bike, for Christ's sake. I mean, come on. It's getting, and Kamala Harris and Pelosi, the whole lot of them. I mean, it's like one flew over the cuckoo's nest, isn't it, at the moment?
I have a theory that Kamala Harris's staff hates her so much that they've been drugging her water. I'm sorry, I didn't see you take a drink until I was like, looking up it. But
As she
It
drinks
is water.
she
What's in it, Vanessa?
that she has gone through. She's gone through more like staff
Yeah,
in the
it's
vice president's
ridiculous.
office
Yeah.
than Penn State while under investigation. It's bad. Her last speechwriter only stuck around for like 4 months and left. And there was a fantastic tweet about it, and I don't have it up, but it was like, well, it looks like her speechwriter knew that the time to get was getting, and so she's gone on to do exactly what she needs to do, which is every day. And I guess, like, I just
Ukraine is a small country next to Russia, a big country. Yeah, that's a brilliant writer. Her campaign staff was quitting when she was campaigning for president. She's rolling in they were getting ready for the California primaries, and her whole staff was quitting.
Can I just come in there and point out? I don't know if you saw any of my tweets of President Assad, his kids, and his wife Asma going to Aleppo during Eid al-Adha, one of the biggest kind of Muslim festivals really here. And I just found that one of the most touching was he's in this huge crowd. You don't see any security. And there's this guy next to him basically saying, "Can I take a selfie?" And the president is really tall. For anyone that doesn't know, he's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
So the guy is struggling, right? So
Yes.
Assad takes the phone and then he's like, "Oh, I don't know how to take a selfie." His daughter is reaching over his shoulder and going, "Dad, like press this button," right? His son is also coaching him. And eventually the president takes the selfie and the guy kind of just goes, "Oh, thanks, mate." I mean, it's beautiful because you compare that to any Western. I mean, Macron would just get eggs in his face. Biden would fall over, right? Boris would get booed out of the town. I mean, there's no Western leader that could do this safely.
Yeah. Remember him driving around the country and by himself in like a little beat up Honda Accord, and your guys and people are like, "Dude, you know, this whole like just repeating the narrative of Assad is a brutal dictator and his people hate him." And when I'm like, dude is driving around with no security forces by himself in a Honda Accord in a war-torn country.
And
a lot of people can't even pull that off. No way.
And what I really hate, if people genuinely believe this, you're stupid, but okay, it's your opinion. But the people who take the line, I disagree with Western intervention, but Assad's a monster, he gasses his people, it's a police state. So it's like this, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, I challenge anyone to find a leader that is not only him, his wife. His wife went alone to a kind of a local village festival in Latakia about 2 days after, and the same thing, you know.
Well, you know, I know we don't have much time, but maybe like a little quick like history lesson, really quick, just a little brief so people understand. And when they do repeat that Bashar al-Assad is a brutal dictator, they're just repeating the State Department's talking points, the CIA's talking points. Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, not even knowing, they're just so ignorant to what's going on. They don't do the work that you do, and they don't understand what's going on there. But I do understand, what was the story about Assad's father? Was he a little bit of a brutal dictator of sorts or whatnot, or is that stretching it once again?
If you read the article, not you, but I mean the audience, the article that I wrote, that is actually up at my website, The Wall Will Fall, and it talks about the 75 years since Syrian independence from French mandate in 1946. And there wasn't a single government at that stage that wasn't deposed and then replaced by the CIA or MI6, either through military intervention, through intelligence intervention, just through, you know, incentivizing opposition, right? And this went on basically throughout the history of Syria from 1946 until now. And during Hafez al-Assad's time, there were at least 2 attempts to overthrow him. And the most notable, of course, is in the late 70s, early 80s. And everyone remembers that as the Hama massacre, because in the end, the Muslim Brotherhood that were weaponized throughout history by the West to effectively overturn any government that the West didn't agree with, right? And the Muslim Brotherhood had carried out a series, like years of assassinations. For example, in Aleppo military academy, they had entered the academy, they had taken aside all of the Alawite and the Shia Muslim cadets, and they were going to execute them. And many of the Sunni Islam cadets who had trained with these other cadets said, "No, you execute us with them," and they did. So basically, this was a massacre in the Aleppo military academy that was never talked about by the same groups that Hafez al-Assad had to put down in the late 70s, early 80s. He had no choice. Exactly, it's a replay of the situation that we had starting in 2011. So to some degree, and this always makes me smile, people here will say to you, if they have one criticism of Bashar al-Assad, he's too soft.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't really. It wasn't. I don't think he was slated to ever really be in control.
His brother
was. Yeah, from what I understood, and his brother was killed. Correct. And
he had a car accident.
Oh, it was a car accident. Okay.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Bashar basically was taken from his doctor's surgery in London, and of course he met Asma also in London. She was working in the banking industry. He was an ophthalmologist, and they both came back to Syria at that point. But I even have, it was really funny, in France where I live, my next door neighbor worked in London in the banking industry, and funnily enough, I found out one day that he knew Asma. In fact, I think he had a bit of a crush on Asma. And he said, and this was in the midst of all of the brutal dictator stuff that was going on. And he said, it's ridiculous. He said, I knew her. I worked with her. And all of this shit that is getting talked about her and her husband. And, look at the kids. The kids are so humble, right? They're not dressed flashily. They're not pulling up in a 10-car convoy. Let's compare them to Hunter Biden, for example, right? Yeah. There's no comparison. And if you go to pre-2009, so 2009 was the kind of watershed when basically Assad, there were many other things, but when he basically turned down the Qatari pipeline, which was the US investment project, right, in favor of the Russian-Iranian pipeline, that was when it all started to go downhill. Because before that, you won't find any criticism of Assad. None. Right?
Yeah. No, and when you remind people that the whole thing in Syria was initially about a gas pipeline, it's a decade removed. Then now it's the way that they keep veterans propagandized, especially here in the West over the last 20 years post Afghanistan, is they keep telling them, well, okay, look, it doesn't matter why you signed up. It doesn't matter what you got told by your recruiter or whatever. You're here now, and the parameters of the mission have changed. So the original reasoning, it's you're here for a different reason now, and then that reason changes, and then that reason changes, and you've got to make the reason why they're actually there smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, to where it becomes the only reason I'm here is so I can get home. And then that reasoning justifies all of the atrocities. Well, they lied to us about why we were there, so then it became about protecting the people in my unit. Then all the people in my unit died, so it just became about getting me home. So I was going to do whatever I had to do to get out of there. And then you just wind up with a bunch of cops that just shoot people for no fucking reason. When you turn
they do it with clean hands. I saw the sanitizer.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
So, did we have any dog sighting? I know we're getting close to the end.
Yeah, you missed it.
You were out of the room. Oh my God! I always miss.
And I'm not waking her up. She's finally gone to sleep. So I'm not. I can't pick her up.
Pasta doesn't understand let sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah,
he doesn't understand.
I wake them up because they're too cute.
Oh God, no.
So cute. Oh, I love the dog videos.
Well, we gotta wind down the show here. But Vanessa, thank you so much for popping in.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
I love the fact that you always just come on the show and
you're
join
welcome
us. You're amazing.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.
No, I always love coming on with you guys. It kind of cheers me up. I was knackered today. It's so hot here. Everyone's moaning about 35 degrees. Come to Syria, guys.
It's currently currently 92 in Las Vegas, but we're expecting
Hang on, what's 92 in
Celsius?
my language? Yeah.
No clue.
Let's see if we can't do a conversion real quick. I don't know. It was 114 yesterday.
Eee, that
Which
sounds
is
high.
ridiculous.
Fahrenheit.
It's 33.
33.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah,
that's mild.
That's
Yeah.
today.
That's today.
That's today.
Currently.
Okay.
Currently.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I guess we're around late 30s, but we're supposed to be going into a heat wave. So I'm meant to be going. I'm out in the field at the end of this week. So I'm like, no, not when I'm out and about.
Yeah, they saved the hottest weather for you.
Yeah.
No.
So yesterday it was 46 Celsius.
That's high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a
Oh,
dry heat.
Yeah.
It's dry.
Here it's weird. It's suddenly gone humid in Damascus, which it's never ever been, and
Same-
it's
Same thing in
it's
Vegas.
horrible.
Like it's monsoon season. It's supposed to be raining a
Yeah.
little bit, but there is this like almost like just incredibly swollen
Yeah.
sky, and it's just
Mhm.
overly
horrible.
humid. I've never experienced humidity in the desert like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same here. It's really weird for the last 2 weeks. Climate change.
Right? Right.
Geoengineering is what I say.
Yeah.
And there's weather machines. But Vanessa, thank you so much for coming on.
I
Listen,
know.
me and Fee were talking. We'd love to have you on the Convo Couch soon too, as well.
Yeah.
We want to continue to talk about Syria, remind people what's going on there, or even just educate people who don't know, the history of Syria. I think it's really important, especially in the times we're in right now in that particular region. And I can't thank you enough for doing the work.
As I
that
said,
you do.
watch this space. I think you're gonna see some very interesting maneuvers going on. So
Yeah.
it would be nice to come on and talk about that.
Please come educate us.
So you still thewallwillfall.org at Vanessa Beeley
Or my Substack or Rokfin. Any of those, my Telegram channel. But my Telegram channel, not my personal one. I keep getting messages on my personal channel. My channel, not me.
The work one.
Yeah, the work one,
The
yeah.
personal one is reserved for dog pictures only. Get it straight.
Absolutely.
Vanessa Beeley. in
I
the
have
house.
traded dog pictures with Vanessa on
know.
Telegram.
It's what we mostly trade, isn't
It
it?
really is.
I try to look at as many of them as I can. Gomez misses you. Gomez says hi.
Oh, I can't wait for them to meet.
Oh,
Me either.
Anyway,
Vanessa,
guys,
take
thank
care,
you
though.
so much.
we love you. Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Take care. Bye.
All right, everybody.
Vanessa Beeley, ladies and gentlemen.
Heck yeah.